Welcome, everybody. This is a session, as you can see, titled The Road to AI Readiness. And we're going to talk about three important aspects of AI that are keeping most organizations and leaders up at night: infrastructure, strategy to value realization, and then the talent part. So I'm joined today by Mark Boroditsky.
Very good.
Yes, first attempt.
Very well done.
It will get like AI. I can get better with time if I train and practice.
You seem agentic to me.
Exactly. And you are the Chief Revenue Officer at Nebius,
That's correct.
and also Olivier Gomez. Gomez, easier for me to pronounce.
Exactly.
Who is a global advisor and authority on automation, AI, and digital transformation.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here with us today, and thanks everybody for joining us. So Mark, if I can start with you, and you can give us a little description of what Nebius does and what your role is, and what brings you here as well.
Thank you, Tomas. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be participating today and to be on this panel. So thank you for that. Nebius is an AI cloud, commonly now referred to as a neo cloud. We provide an infrastructure for companies and customers to build their AI requirements on. So think about this as the AWS of AI. And we are strictly focused on supporting the AI requirements that our small and large customers have. As Chief Revenue Officer, my interest is to help our customers and find new customers and help them to build their AI requirements. I've been with the company now a week and a half, so I can attest to the fact that at least I know how to spell AI.
It doesn't show. We would have thought you've been with the company for longer. And just so that those of us who aren't experts on the technical side of infrastructure, you're talking really about the foundational, the kind of plumbing level of investment that makes AI possible, right?
That's correct. And if you walk the floor, you listen to the presentations, people will talk about GPUs. TPUs are a very specific type of processor set up for highly parallel processing. If you listen to Jensen's keynotes, it talks about how it's the cornerstone of the fourth industrial revolution. We are building data centers now, 7 of them will be in place this year with tens of thousands of GPUs. Now, we have the GPUs. You shouldn't have to think about that. You shouldn't have to wonder what it is that powers AI. We've built the infrastructure around that, software and tooling, so that you can actually take advantage of the GPUs to build the AI requirements that you have for your business.
Okay. Now, Olivier, a little bit on what you do, what brings you here, and how you see the whole AI state of affairs right now.
Yeah, so my role is to advise companies, large companies, to take the right decision around AI. And my focus is always to look at the non-technical side of AI. And why is that? What is important is to understand that when you are doing AI, you have a goal, you have an expectation of a result, of an impact. You are trying to grow your business, you are trying to optimize your costs. I am helping companies to identify the right areas where it makes sense to deploy AI and where they will achieve a return on investment on those projects. Unfortunately, there is still a large amount of projects that do not achieve a positive return on investment for a number of reasons that we can talk about.
Yeah. And where do you think companies are today in terms of their maturity and sophistication vis-a-vis putting in place the right metrics to evaluate ROI or value realization of AI?
Yes, so I think as any new technology, we are exiting what I would call the innovation phase, which is, this new shiny object that everyone is excited about, that is pushing people to do AI. They don't really know why. They are running POCs all over the place. And now we are getting more serious. We are entering this industrialization phase, which means that now people are looking at AI as a mechanism to achieve business results. And I think people across the organization, not just the technical team, are starting to understand what it takes to really achieve results all the way up to the CFO, right? So it's really evolving from this is a pet project where I'm getting used to the technology to now it's becoming a serious component of the transformation of the company that will both help the bottom line of the company as well as the top line.
And Mark, back to you. Obviously, we're here at VivaTech. There are a lot of startups, and Nebius is very, very strong in this ecosystem, right? What makes your products so critical and important to startups that are wanting to enter the AI game or really conquer the AI space?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. And startups are obviously critical to Nebius's strategy, but also to the broader market and ecosystem. A lot of the frontier development that's taking place, the innovation that's fueling the imagination and the transformations that are happening in all kinds of industries are actually being fueled by those startups. And Nebius is unique in that we have built our offering so that it's easy for a developer, an AI engineer, to be able to get access to the AI resourcing they need to be able to build that startup innovation that is actually fueling what we call AI natives. The other really important aspect of this is those AI native companies and the way they're buying and the way that they're innovating is now making their way into other larger companies and enterprises. So the same services and capabilities that make us successful with a high growth AI native are also why many enterprises are starting to come to our platform, making it easy for them to build that next set of applications that are helping them to reach their ROI objectives.
Yeah. And you're making a strong incursion into the enterprise sector as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the reality is that there's a ton of opportunity, especially with established legacy enterprises. And we're seeing it already where companies have implemented our capabilities so that they're getting their AI infrastructure in place to be able to automate workflows, to be able to generate content in a more natural and high performance manner, be able to produce analytics that are helping their leaders and their managers to be more effective in their roles. We're seeing it across all kinds of organizations. As a matter of fact, I think I read recently about a third of enterprises actually have active projects in production utilizing AI, which is phenomenal acceleration.
Yeah, and if I may add to this, in the enterprise, we are now reaching a point, as I was saying, where some of the models are ready for production, and the infrastructure requirement is not just on the training side of the model, i.e. to test new model, to find new use cases, but also to scale the AI that is ready to be deployed in production. And it is absolutely critical to have an infrastructure partner that is able to cater both the training by providing a cost-effective model for startup to explore, because startup are taking most of the risk nowadays, but also able to provide the infrastructure that is flexible, that will adapt to the production grade solution. Because we know that when we are running an AI, there is some fluctuation of the need of the infrastructure, and the provider has to be able to cater those needs.
You're completely correct. As a matter of fact, to make that sort of real, think about like a drug therapy innovation process where you've got people in the lab that are wanting to have models that are going to help them to explore new therapeutics. Getting the models right for that therapeutic development is critically important. Once it's in production, now we have a different set of requirements that you need to be able to support as the drug discovery process is implemented, so that they're able to more quickly discover and then deliver to market the new therapies. Now, when they learn from that, the models need to be refreshed and need to be supported for the next set of objectives that they have.
Let me ask you both a question that I know is top of mind of a lot of leaders, for a lot of leaders and even employees. And we operate very much in the talent space that still largely and mostly involves humans, even if they're augmented by agents and AI tools, where do you think we will end vis-a-vis the automation augmentation dichotomy or polarity? Is there a way to reconcile both? Is it 50-50, 47? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so this is one of the core topic that I am helping a lot of company with. There's a lot of fear in the system, obviously, and people are starting to understand the positive impact of the AI, and specifically the whole agentic AI wave that is starting to impact, as you were saying, and transform the workflow of the companies, right? So when you're a small company and you are greenfield, it's quite easy to be up to date in terms of skill set. When you are a larger company, a legacy org, you have a need to be on par with the rate of change of the technology. So upskilling, reskilling, and frankly, not only improving internal resources, but also getting help by outside resources that have other type of experience that will bring to the table a number of lessons learned that will make sure that you don't do those basic mistakes for your project.
And Mark, any thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I drink the Kool-Aid. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to qualify my
Disclaimer.
My yeah, big disclaimer right up front. I live in the Bay Area. There's a very vibrant and positive view of the opportunity. I think first and foremost, like my colleague here just shared, upskilling is a necessity. All of us have to become AI enabled. I hope all of us become AI experts. I think most AI is going to be deployed in companionship with a human. Okay. We all hear about outcomes that aren't as expected. That's the tip of the iceberg. Learning preferences, learning the way that good could be improved continually requires feedback. That requires a human to be in the loop. So think of it as your partner in delivering on whatever it is that you're responsible for. That's going to become a standard. And all of us that are working with AI are going to be able to accomplish a lot more. And at the same time, the expectations are going to go up. So think about the possibility that you're not just executing in your native language, you're executing in all the languages of your team members, of your customers, and it's happening automatically without you having to learn those languages. That's possible with AI. A lot of people say, oh, there's going to be no more certain types of roles. No, I think actually the expectations of roles are going to go up, and they're going to be doing a lot more because the expectations with AI enabled are also going to cause an increase for the organization, internally and externally.
And if I may add, right, one thing to remember here is that we know that an augmented human with AI is by far more productive than a human that is not using AI. So there will be in the future two kinds of human: those that are embracing the technology and are augmented by the technology, and those that are lagging behind. And it's really important for people to understand that, there's no bad news happening with the deployment of AI. It's just, as you said, an elevation of the task. The lower level task will be done by the technology, and most likely you will end up, if you want to project yourself, as the team manager of a bunch of AI agents that will work for you and do all the tasks that you don't want to do. They will be specialized in coding, specialized in project management. You will be your own boss of your own AI team. It's going to be very different by nature, but very exciting.
Is our current educational system ready to cater for these needs, right? We were having a dinner with clients a couple of days ago, and the final question that was asked is, you're an 18-year-old today, what would you study, right? And people, didn't know where to go, but the majority of people said, not what I have done. So how do we feel about that?
Well, I have an 18-year-old and I have a 12-year-old, and both of them are extraordinarily tech savvy. Now, that's partially because of the household they live in, but it's also because of the world that they live in. It's interesting. We had a conversation just the other day with my daughter, and we were talking about ChatGPT. Like, are people actually writing their essays with ChatGPT? And she said, no, you can tell when that happens. But she says, everybody, just like using Google when they're doing research, will do a little bit of research on ChatGPT. They'll start to do idea generation, and then they'll write the final form. As a matter of fact, she sees it more and more as a necessary companion, not just picking one tool. And a very tech savvy or oriented individual, that has to be replicated throughout the entire population. And we very easily look to our teenagers who are still in the educational system, and they could probably influence and impact the experience they have. The one I'm worried about are the adults in population. The adults that are in traditional industries that maybe have become computer literate, they now have to become AI literate. And the organizations they live in and work in have to be enabling their AI literacy.
Yeah, I'm fully aligned with that. I happen to have a son. He's 18 as well, located in France. So we are looking at engineering school.
He has to use AI because his is, so they can't be.
He does. This is not to worry. But the point is, we should not be worried about the kids and their capability to adopt and adapt to the technology and make the best out of it. I think we need to look at the organization where we have people that are old like us and they have to upgrade themselves towards this new wave of technology, because the future is going to happen with. And this is where, training those people is absolutely critical. Having other experts around those people to teach them, to show them what needs to be done is absolutely critical.
So that's a good headline for the audience. Worry about old people like us, right? To be there. Now, do we have any questions? We have time. Yes, thank you. And let me give you my mic.
Yeah, thank you, Mark and Olivier. Very interesting. My question is much more about the data, because we didn't mention it. It's one of the key drivers that is required, let's say, to accelerate on AI. What is your perspective on it? That's the first question. And second question, while listening to you, my feeling is that there are many areas where companies need to invest to compare people, skills, some use cases. So according to you, how can VivaTech or companies, large companies, to be ready? Is it a matter of years, and how companies should deal with these different areas where they need to either recover or catch up given their legacy?
Yeah. So let me cover those two questions and then I will hand over. So regarding the first one, regarding the data. So we know that we have already exhausted all the data that is available in the world to train the machine. We are looking at synthetic data now. I think that at the level of a company, there's a lot of effort that has been done to create and to prepare the data for AI. So this is something that has been ongoing: consolidation, creation of data lake, cleansing the data. I think we are at a point where there's a good level of maturity across many companies to use this data and to feed those data into the right model to train models. Okay. Now, regarding your second question, I think for me, the way I look at the deployment of AI and all the different components that you mentioned, from the infrastructure all the way up to having the right people, in-house people to stay in control of your destiny, and external people to help you, to augment you, to bring skills that you don't have. I think all of that comes together with the business case of the AI. When the business reason for doing AI is all well articulated, when you know that the more you use the infrastructure, the more you hire people, the more return you're going to have on that investment, then things come together. Where I see company being slow or sometimes failing is when they don't have the business side of AI well put together. And this is where, effort has to be done.
Very good questions, by the way. And I appreciate that you did bring up data, because it is the most important asset that most organizations have. And as my colleague Olivier just shared, many organizations are way down the journey in terms of building the infrastructure to support the data that they need to run their business. Taking it to the next level to be able to fuel personalization and alignment of their models to their requirements is it's a natural next step for them. I don't think it's going to be an issue. But questions that people should be having, especially as we're sitting here in France, is your data and your AI partner aligned to your privacy and regional or sovereign objectives? And at Nebius, we are building out a global footprint of data centers that are aligned already to the highly sensitive requirements that most organizations have. So we're already building infrastructure in local markets to make sure that we can answer the question when the enterprise asks about where is my data, we're going to be able to say where you want it. The journey for AI in the enterprise is a very interesting question. If you asked me like a year ago, I would have said it's just like every innovation cycle we've been through. Mobile, cloud, SaaS. It's going to take a while, okay? As a matter of fact, if you look at like cloud, there's still like a third of enterprises that haven't started their cloud journey. That should tell you something. And cloud has been around now for 15 years. You know, that feels like old technology. I don't think it's going to take that long. The speed at which enterprises and obviously smaller companies are actually taking advantage of AI is much faster than any other innovation cycle you've seen. And I think it's because of the fact that it has sort of a natural extension to the trajectories we've been on already. And it's also because people are experiencing it personally. That example a moment ago, my daughter using ChatGPT, that conversation at dinner, the fact that it's landing in our personal lives means that when we go back to work, the fuel that you need to drive the innovation, the imagination, the ROI justification is much greater than it has been when I've looked at other tech cycles. I expect this is probably going to move at 3 to 4 times the pace of what we've seen with the other cycles.
Maybe one more question for you, Olivier. What is the role of leadership and culture in making all of this work?
Yeah.
And of course, we've been saying and hearing that culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. But, you know, what's the AI version of that?
For sure, what I can tell you is that rolling out AI in a company bottom up doesn't work. Having, you know, plenty of projects across the organization that are scattered all over the place without any consistency at the top doesn't work. The top-down approach is a must for success. The leadership, AI is going to touch every piece of the organization, every role, every exec, every department, every business unit. And there is a need to embed that at the strategic planning level of the company. And the people driving AI should not be the technical people. It should be the people running the company. It is that level of embedding that is required for AI to be successful.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. And thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.